Hello. I believe the appropriate expression is, Yar har fiddle-dee-dee. Being a pirate is all right with me. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Alright, so we're gonna be trying to get onto the Wild Geese storyline. This is not product placement nor my sponsor, but I actually do rather like Klaus Taylor. Anyway, oh God, what should we name our character? We're gonna be Irish and a pirate. So the Wild Geese are Irish. Yeah, it's a good women's name. Good Irish women's name. Heather. Heather. Heather Odell. And Heather Odell's name is that. Heather Odell's nickname. Oh, God. Is. Good question. Good question. Belle. Because she's pretty. Yes. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to do my best to do this properly. Yeah, mankind has colonized the stars. The explorers, many never heard from again until a genius named Omada Kane came to the fore. Kane designed and orchestrated the construction of the hypergate system. The hypergates were a means of linking years apart light with wormhole. The great boom of colonization happened, and then dark reaches of space, suddenly not so dark nor distant. The ruling body of humanity, the Colonial Council, grew rich from the hypergates. Where's my mouse? Mouse. There's my mouse. The Colonial Council grew corrupt, and every sickness the layer with stuff. The terrorists blew up the Sol hypergate and crippled the network. Few could have foreseen the events. A thing crashed. The thing blew up in space. Vipers flew. I keep losing my mouse because it's not showing the actual cursor. Yet from this chaos rose order, a newly reformed, faster than light, and slowly regained contact. Over time, the core systems, the Federation, life is a cheap commodity, the Auroran Empire, Polaris, you have purchased your first ship. Welcome to the universe, Captain. Why have you opened Copilot? No one asked you to do that. Ugh. How do I kill this? Let's do Control C. Yay. All right. Where the hell are we? We're in Fomalhaut. We need to do a couple of things to get onto the Wild Geese storyline. The first of which is we need to get to Earth. The second is we need a combat rating of 5 or more, which means we need to go start some shit. I don't really feel like dealing with Barry, so go fuck yourself. That's right, this is snow melt and there's not really anything to be done here. But let's do... Oh, nothing in the bar, huh? Well, whatever. Let's do that thing where we go to another system. Let me turn down. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Stop shooting at me. I am simply here. I do not wish to enjoy your fights. Please, no. Thank you for no. Pirate. Pirate? Pirates! Space pirates. Man, wouldn't it be great? Viking really is kind of a piratey sort of place, isn't it? I would love to just immediately buy a pirate ship. Wouldn't that be great? To just immediately walk into a fucking pirate argosy. One of these things. That'd be fun. Well, anyway, all right. So we're kind of on our own here. Viking is sort of a questionable sort of environment. So we need to make money, and it'd be really great. Be really great if we could make money quickly, but I know that's gonna be hard. So let's go to Earth. Jeez, you guys, come on. I do not wish to enjoy your fighting at this time. Leave me alone. Thank you. Alright. Come on. Recharge. Bar. Wow, nothing? Nothing. Whoops. Okay, so that's Windows, that's Alt. Bar. Nothing. Nothing for me, huh? Nothing for Emily. I guess I do have to start from nothing. Nothing. Where is Hearth? Shit, I don't remember if that's this way or that way. Outfitter. Let's buy a map just in case, because Emily is not smart. But if we're going the piratey direction anyway... Crap. I feel like it's off of Nezra Prime. I don't remember. Probably wrong. Come on, one of these. There it is. Outfitter. A map. Good. Map. There we go. Yes. Okay. So what we probably need to do is get ourselves some money, get ourselves a slightly less dinky ship. I don't know what, but a starbridge would be lovely, but I doubt we'll actually get one. Bar. There we go. Okay, Samantha Verona, United Shipping. I'm not really interested in doing United Shipping. Like, I appreciate it, but no. Aha! Kunjo Hunt. Good money. Let's take the Kunjo Hunt. Yes. Okay. Essentially, the Kunjo Hunt is, you take some tourists hunting, monsters so that they can be like, oh, we're awesome. We're doing, like, cool guy things. It's like going on a tour to Africa to take pictures with lions for your dating profile, you know? That thing that people do, I guess. Wait, where is Kini K? Are we going that way? No, we're not. And we certainly don't have 11 tons of cargo space. Where is... It's also way out of the way. Never mind. Kunjo will give us enough money that we can get started on the, like... the cheapo money adventure. And get ourselves a slightly better ship pretty quickly. Yeah. So we're in the boring part of the game right now. Part of the game where it's like, well, I guess we're making money. There we go. Tarengo, State on Hourglass, Public Servants, blah, blah, blah. Back to Earth. Oh, shit. I'm really not interested in dealing with you, Mr. Marauder Terrapin. Don't really want to talk to you. I also landed on the wrong darn planet. There we go, Greenwich. Let's just buy one of these things before I forget and end up getting myself stranded. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, we're definitely in like the boring part. But that's alright. Earth. Yeah, boy. Here's your pay. Get money. Yeah. Bar. No. Okay. Trade center. Right. So let's go to the bar, hire an escort, see if that cheap-ass terrapin is here. The busted-ass terrapin? No? No busted terrapins for Emily? Shit. Bar. Escort. There's that busted terrapin. Alright. Now, Europa. Europa, ba, 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 ba. Fucking Used was absolutely robbed. Alright, I think that's all we can get on this trip. 1 Earth. Yeah, not bad. Okay. I feel like I should add some like mood music or something. The problem with that, Emily, is that you don't have any. I don't have any mood music for you. Certainly not anything that's like something I wouldn't have to worry about copyright. So, whatever. I don't know. What the hell are you doing here? Oh, it's Jason Cook. Yeah, what's up, man? A Thunderhead would be pretty sexy. The lances on those things are like peak. All right. We should be able to max out now. Yes, we can. Okay. Okay, so at that rate, we'll do a couple more of that, and then we'll rent another terrapin, and we'll keep doing it. And I know that this is like horribly terrible television, but you know, gotta make money. Spend money to make money, or whatever the hell. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's see if we can hire another busted terrapin. Hopefully I won't screw myself. Yes. Okay, and now we've got so much more. Okay, I've not done this with multiple terrapins yet, but I really want to build up a nice big bank account before we go trying to fight anything. So let's make sure that we keep our balance above 2,000. There we go. Okay, because 2,200 is rent for these ships. So I have to make sure that I can still pay that rent. Oh, excuse me, between trips. 4, back to Europa. Pink. Okay, yeah, that's actually quite lucrative. That could work. So I think if we repeat this pattern, we could probably make 1,000,000 credits pretty quickly. Yeah, we're already at 275. All right, let's do a couple of trips with the two Z's. Twozy woozy. Probably need more than 1,000,000 though. I kind of want a star bridge, you know? A lightning would be pretty cool, or a thunderhead, but like, I kind of want a Starbridge. Whoops. I guess I held down the button. Alright. Earth. Hello, Galadriel. Okay. What the hell was I doing? Right, Trade Center. Go sell it all. Sell, sell, sell. Buy, buy, buy. Alright, is that the busted terrapin? It is! What's up, Buttercup? Alright, now we have to make sure that we have at least 3,300 in our bank account between trips. This is so silly. Yeah. Okay. Almost. Hey, this can work. Okay, I get it. The reason why is because my keyboard, when you hold down the button, takes a second to realize that you've lifted your finger up. It's one of these keychron, so it's like a little bit slow on the uptake sometimes, I guess. It's like fully mechanical. And mine is a little jank because I've had it for a while. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But that's alright. Hi, Galadriel. Why do you keep talking at me? Okay. Trade Center. Sell it all, baby! Oh yeah, we're doing well. Escorts. Busted Terrapin! What's the story on you? You have 250 tons, whereas the Busted Terrapin has 125 tons and is far less expensive. Okay, so it's probably worth it to just keep getting the Busted Terrapin. Alright. Sure. Love it. Although it would be hilarious doing this with a Leviathan. You know? At least I think so. Okay. Yeah, we can very nearly reach capacity on each run. Very nearly. This is actually quite lucrative. I am pleased. There we go. We're already at 500,000, which is great because we need money. We're in the space trucker part of the game, which anyone who has played this game a lot can tell you is pretty much the first part. It's where you act like a truck and you make trips making money. It's kind of what Barry teaches you when you first play the game, where he's like, hey, stuff, you know, here's a route, there's a route, this is what it looks like when people fight. You like space yet? It's essentially his whole shtick. Okay, no busted terrapins for Emily. Shit. Well, whatever. Maybe we'll get one on the next pass. Europa. Trade Center. I forget who buys water. It's someone. Someone buys water. I forget who. All right. Trade and sell. Sell that shit. Bar. Escort. Wow, there just ain't none. There ain't no busted Valkyries or Terrapins for us. Oh well. Maybe there will be another. Maybe on the next trip. there will be one. You know. Maybe. All right, so with hold full, we have 300K. Trade center. Sell it all. Okay. Is that busted ass Terrapin here? Yeah, there he is. Okay. Okay. 5 turtles. Sesame Street, right? The Count. Everybody loves the Count. There we go. 635. I guess the next upgrade would be to get a Terrapin. Or something else. I don't know, anyway. Trade center. Sell that shit. Nice. We're already nearly at 1 million credits. Look at that. All right, this is the cheap Star Bridge. The Thunderhead. The Thunderhead is less expensive than I remember. It's got lances, which I like. Shields and armor, 110, 185. This is a busted Star Bridge, but the shields are much better. I kind of want to do a Star Bridge for our, like, the ship we're going to use, because Star Bridges are kind of badass. Anyway. Ship shopping. Europa. That would be nice. We could buy a Leviathan. Or an IDA frigate, you know? I forget if we can buy a Cambrian at this point. I don't think we can. I think that the Polaris will kill us on sight. Yay, look at that. Already in the millions. Yeah, you won't sell me one. Shipyard. There's that busted boy. The IDA frigate requires a lot of stuff. Okay. That's a lot of things that you need. The IDA frigate does have a ton of armor. It's slow, but it's got 250 tons, medium blaster turrets, blah, 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 blah. You tempt me, sir. You tempt me. This is the badass Star Bridge. Which is not such a bad idea to just get the badass Star Bridge. It's just got like additional goodies and stuff, which is not such a bad plan, you know. But we're certainly going to want this, this, this. Is that the things you need for the badass Star Bridge? Heavy weapons, missile weapons, protective technologies. Those are the things you need. All right. Let's call it the Eyes of Hope. Okay. And let's release some of our escorts. These slow-ass things. Okay. And then, you are free. You are free. I'm going to keep you. I'm going to make another trip. Oh, this thing's fast. Make one more trip. Just to get some pocket change. Damn, this thing's fast. I love it. Oh, and look at that, the IFF. I almost never buy the IFF decoder. I used to. like all the time, but just don't really do it anymore. Okay. So this came with this, these, this. I'd really like one, but there's no space. No solars, and I'd really love some solars, but that's okay. It'd be hilarious to put a fucking Thunderhead Bay on a Starbridge. Oh. Technology is hit and miss, but it's better than nothing. I feel like a pirate jammer would be a better choice, but we might get in trouble with the feds. That's alright. Stellar grenades. You know, I never see anything using stellar grenades. That's alright. I've never been that big of a friendly choice, these things. Modern radar guarded missile is a cheap glimmer knockoff. That's alright. We need a little bit of street cred. So let's tell our boy that he can go find some marauders. Huh? How about that? How about we go find some marauders? I don't want to piss off the free traders. I want to piss off the marauders. Because they suck. Marauders are like... Yeah, the Association of Free Traders, we don't want no shit with them. Because they're actually, like... They're nice guys. They're a bunch of piratey boys, but they're nice guys. Oh, shit. Can you not? Oh, it's rebels. That's why. Oh, I really don't want to get involved in your internal politics, boys. Alright. United Shipping. Pegasus. Just flying around, looking for marauders. I might not even be looking in the right place for marauders. Let's go back to Nezra and try in the upper right. So I think we'll have more luck up there. Or maybe we can fuck up some Aurorans. That's a bad idea. They'll fuck me up immediately. They will immediately wreck my shit. Extreme rocket board. I love extreme rocket boards. I am curious what the difference is. Light blast. Oh, mine is better. Fuck you. Mine is way better. But what about these things? Can I... I could get a railgun if I had space, which I don't. Or a pirate jammer for jamming pirates. No. No. We have to get by with what we have for now. Drifting derelict. Derelict. These nuts. That's the expression, right? If a terrapin dies in the middle of nowhere... Is anyone around to know? Traders, feds... us out here looking for trouble. Damn. Damn, they out here patrolling. They are out here patrolling, and I feel like I'm just gonna have to start some shit. if I want. You make a tempting target. God, there are a lot of feds out here. Maybe this is not the place. You see, we're learning. Ah, Aurorans. We helped! Yay! I think that counts. Let's see if that counts. Alright, the Michelin is a 50-50 in the bar. So let's land, go to the bar. Nothing happens, but that's okay, because we saved. Little ability means non-zero, which means more than 5. Bar. Now, missions. Accept. And then Alt-K, land, bar. Nope, missions. Accept, leave, Alt-K, land, bar. Damn, Michelin, you keeping me fucking... Do I have to do something to make this be possible? Okay, so them avail bits is not not 800 or 801, not 511 or 515, or 4 6s. Let's have a look at the pilot log. Ah, it's still looking at Susanna Merrick. So the last time that it updated was... Well, that's today. Maybe when we quit Nova. Open the pilot log. No, you're still looking at Susanna Merrick. Why? Why are you looking at Susanna Merrick? We are not Susanna Merrick. Stop that shit. Stop it now. Okay, because we are Heather Odell. Now will you update? Yes. Good. Thank you. Okay, mission bits currently set. Not that and not that are both true. 4 6s is available. What's my kill count? 60. So we should be fine. Ah, there he is. I guess we just had to leave and come back. You have barely entered the bar when you are knocked backwards by the flying body of one of the bar's patrons. The burly individual knocks you to the ground, and you stand to give the offensive ruffian a piece of your mind, if not a piece of your boot. And as you stand, okay, you notice that the man was sent flying your way by a red-bearded giant fighting on the far side of the bar. As you watch, a number of men attack him, only to be beaten back by his prodigious strength. A man comes at him from behind, smashing a bar stool over his head. He staggers and begins to stumble. His sneaky attacker begins to draw a knife. And you feel as if you should help the man before he is stabbed in the back in a cowardly attack. You quickly jump into action, smashing your fist into the other man's face. Boom! He falls backward as your fist comes away, stained with blood. The giant shakes his head and with a roar launches himself at the remaining ruffians. As you watch, the fight ends in a quick and brutal flurry of blows. In a matter of seconds, the floor is strewn with unconscious bodies. The man turns to you and offers his huge hand. Let's see. Brogue. Irish. Ah, thanks for your help, he says in a thick brogue. Can I get you a drink? You nod your assent, and he turns to a dazed-looking barman and orders 2 drinks. You make a mental note not to drink in dockside bars anymore and turn your attention to the man beside you. He stands about 6.5 feet tall and looks as if he could pull apart leviathans with his bare hands. He has a shock of bright red, carrot-colored hair and very pale skin. He turns to you and hands you a huge drink as black as pitch and as thick as fresh cream. Guinness. He raises his glass to you in a silent salute and takes a long pull on his drink. You follow suit and are surprised by the thick, bitter taste that fills your mouth. It is at once revolting and enticing, and you don't quite know what to make of it. You guess that you should be polite and finish it, but you don't know if you'll be able. Sorry, I need to turn off this light. There we go. Many hours later, you and your new friend, Michelin Hogue? Sure, Michelin Hogue, stagger from the bar. The manager slams the door behind you and locks it quickly, and you get the distinct impression that he was not happy that the 2 loudest patrons were also the last to leave. You head back toward the docks when Michelin curses loudly. You follow his gaze as best you can and see a heavily modified thunderhead being locked down by the port authorities. Michelin shouts abuses at them in a strange tongue, but it makes no difference. They don't understand the Gaelic. Before they leave, they give him a notice to the effect that he has outstanding storage debts and that his ship was impounded until he pays them back. But that would have to be the life of a wild rover, he says wistfully, waving an unsteady hand at his locked ship. I spent all me money on whiskies and beer, and now I've none to get me ship out of hock. He slumps down next to the ship and puts his head in his hand. Your heart goes out to him, and you ask if there is any way that you can help him. He explains that he has to be in New Ireland in the Tuatha system before the end of the month so that he can be the best man in his cousin's nuptials. He says that if you can give him a lift, you can stay for the wedding and the party after. Apparently one is very serious and the other involves a white dress. You've had far too many pints to figure out which is which. Do you give him a lift? Yes, of course we do. I love this guy. You wake in the morning with a heavy head, and there is far too much light in the cabin. The instruments are too bright, and you cannot remember ever feeling quite so awful. Michelin doesn't appear to be much better, but takes a very philosophical view of your predicament. Just remember that you can only start to feel better when you feel this bad at the beginning, he tells you with grim humor. Somehow it does make sense in a bizarre way. You have acquired hangover. Fun. Yeah, I kind of want to sell off these jammers because they suck, and I want a solar panel instead. Maybe I'll just sell off the damn rockets or missiles or whatever, because I remember those being kind of ass. There we go. Yeah, screw those things. We are going to need at least 15 cargo space, but I want solar panel. Just in case we end up fucked off in a corner somewhere, it's good to not have to bribe somebody to save us. Now let's carry our drunken friend back to the Tuatha system by the end of the week. Excuse me, gentlemen. The wedding turns out to be a very loud and jolly affair. The rites were solemn and beautifully written, and the sentiments of love and eternity spent together brings a tear to your eye. Mickeline's cousin, Riley Shaskeen, is so happy that you have delivered his errant cousin that he places you at the place of honor at the reception. Between his unmarried and beautiful sister, Sinead, and his best friend and brother, Sean Shashkin, the night seems endless and is full of drink and song, fights and dancing. Men vie for the attention of the ladies, who treat them with a faintly mocking humor. Their tongues move like whips, and you find your sides hurting with laughter at their banter. Mickeline tries to teach you old drinking songs, and Sean tries to teach you to dance. In what seems to be only a few short hours, the night is over, and you stagger away to Mickeline's place to pass into a blissful sleep full of dreams of quick-fisted men and quicker-witted women. Man, I love this shit. Morning finds you in a small bed in the home of Mickeline. You see him enter the room with a huge plate of steaming food, which makes your fragile stomach perform a couple of small flips. He thrusts it under your nose and insists that you eat. As you weakly push the food down your gullet, Mickeline tells you that all the young men in the town must go to the bride's family home and collect her dowry so that they can deliver it to the newlyweds, whilst all the women and the married folk enjoy a gentle day of art and song. In fact, he says through a mouthful of his own breakfast, I've been told not to show my face around here anymore unless I escort you to the festivities safely. God, talking Irish with your, food in your mouth is hard. Escort you to the festivities safely. You readily agree and spend another very enjoyable day in the company of these strange and hospitable folk. Lovely. All right. Well, what do you do when you're on New Ireland? Go to the fucking bar. Ooh. So what's the difference? So when they were developing the lightning-heavy fighter, Rauther discovered that the traditional light blaster didn't suit the loadout. So they went away and tinkered, and they came up with a weapon they called the light cannon. It isn't quite as powerful as the light blaster, but it fires faster. Its shots reach a little further, and it takes up a little less space. Okay, you know what? I kind of want it, but I don't need it, is the thing. I can't have any. I would have to sell something, and I really like having the medium blasters and the light turret. Anyway. Oh, vector thrust, though. Holy shit. This is actually a good one. Exhaust pipes to direct the thrusts in one direction or another. All pirates throughout the known galaxy and more than a few merchants and freelance have also chosen to add this upgrade to their ships. This essentially just makes it more maneuverable, I think, which is 100% worth it if we're going to be doing a lot of combat, which we're going to be doing a little. All right. Yes. But what do you do when you're on New Ireland? You go to the bar. You and Mickeline are sitting in the bar, and you are considering how easy it would be to stay here and drink for the rest of your life. You notice that Mickeline has not been able to work a single day you have been here. So far, all he has done is swan about and drink in pubs. You ask him why he doesn't seem to have to pay for anything, and he looks at you in surprise. Why don't you know who we are here in New Ireland? He answers, slightly surprised. We're the Wild Geese, the best mercenary organization in the universe. We fight for the best pay and the best causes, and we never lose. Lose. I'll have to work on that. I'm one of the geese, so I am more responsible. I'm going fucking Australian. New Ireland. I'm one of the geese, so I am more responsible for the income of New Ireland than many others here. So tradition has it that I dinna pay for grog or food nor lodgings either. You see, there's a good chance that I will die in the service of New Ireland's economy, so I don't pay taxes or for services. I'll cover any debt when I die. You ask him further about the geese, and you realize that most of the famous battles in the past have had the geese somewhere in the field. They have a long tradition of being the savior of their employers' troops, and when and when the day is all but lost and most men are ready to break, the wild geese find a special reserve and push on, often winning the day single-handedly, or at least that is the way Michelin tells it. By the time he has finished his explanations, many of the other patrons have begun telling their stories. They all involve fighting, women, and lots of drinking. By the time you leave the bar, you have a deep wish that you'd had the fortune to be born on New Ireland, or the sole homeland, Ireland itself. At least then you could lay claim to this rich tradition of warriors and heroes. You tell Michelin, who laughs until his face hurts. Musha! He waggles a finger at you. It's talk like that that'll cause folks not to let you leave. If you stay long enough, you'll look and think and sound so much like us that a stranger wouldn't know the difference. But unfortunately, I have to get back to Seoul and collect my ship. Collect my ship. Can you take me back? Of course I can. You tell Michelin you would be happy to take him back. Next day, you head back to Seoul. Of course we do. Roughnecks need not apply. Yum yum. All right. Okay. One last look. Yeah. Oh, the wild geese lightning. That's interesting. A Thunderhead lance, 4 light cannons. The lightning heavy fighter. It's pretty sexy. Anyway, I don't need one. Excuse me, gentlemen. Eamon Flanagan. Oh, I love him. I remember him. We had dealings with him in the Polaris. Let's go. Tum-ti-tum. Soul. Okay. McGowan. You and Michelin land on the Cane Band with a minimum of fuss. It is odd that you got clearance so quickly. You have seen waits at least 10 times longer than the one you had. Michelin is in high spirits, and together you set off to the impound office to arrange for Michelin's ship to be released. You are nearly there when you see a group of burly figures walk out of an alley ahead of you. They turn and wait for you to approach, and you glance over your shoulder. More men are there, and sudden sweat breaks out on you, as cold as the pit of your stomach. They are all armed in some way. Michelin stops and gives you an almost imperceptible nod. The hour is late, and traffic on the walkway is thin, made up mostly of the dregs of the port's population, the night walkers who only appear after most regular folk have gone to bed. There is little likelihood of outside intervention, and you are forced to let the other men make the first move. Foot soldiers. They work for a black-hearted bastard called McGowan. He runs a pirate organization in the Galactic's north. He has a lot of backing, too. Mostly from the Bureau of Internal Investigation. Hard to prove, but still fact. The big bastard in the middle is Bull John Pennant. He's McGowan's man in this sector, and a real piece of work, too. The only problem is I owe them money, and lots of it. That and the fact that I betted with Pennant's wife. I don't like the looks of this little party. Michelin, who? You worthless muck shoveler. Pennant steps forward, casting back his overcoat to reveal a sawn-off shot blaster. Of course it is. You have a lot of nerve showing your ugly face around here. We was tipped off you'd be dropping by, so I thought I'd get myself a little payback while I'm here. Boss wants his money as well. He starts to walk forward. The men behind you begin to close in. If I don't get out of this in one piece, Micklin whispers urgently, get back to New Ireland and find Eamon Flanagan. Tell him what happened and that I'm sorry about this. The men behind you charge, and Pennant opens fire with the shot blaster. Micklin pulls a hidden blaster from his cloak and returns fire, and you turn to face the charging men behind you. You fire at one of them, but you feel a sudden pain in your back. You fall into unconsciousness, and the ensuing blackness is the heaviest you have ever known. When you regain consciousness, the area around you is covered in blood. Some of it is pooled in places, but all of it indicates that the bodies of the fallen have been removed. You lift your head, and you see Micklin. He lies slumped against the wall in a pool of blood. You crawl to his side, but you are too late. He is dead. His face is a mass of bruising, and he has been badly beaten before the end. A note has been stuck to his chest with a dagger. Heather Odell, the only reason we did not kill you is because you were not worth the effort. Do not bother trying to take this to the proper authorities. They weren't too fazed with the idea of Hogue dying. You would do well to forget this ever happened. Go about your business. It is the healthier option. Pennant. A sick rage, I am mad, sick rage fills you. Just recently the man before you was a living, breathing person whose very presence made you happy. Now he has died, and the men responsible have mocked the thought of you avenging him. You gently lift Micklin's body and head back to your ship. Micklin's dying wish was that you return to New Ireland and inform his people that he had fallen. You will return and then come seeking revenge. It is with great sadness that you lift off and set a course for New Ireland, sending a message ahead of you, passing on the news. No, I'm mad. I'm mad, boys. Those fuckers. So, to my understanding, in the game mechanics, it is a 50-50 shot, more or less, as to whether or not Micklin survives that situation, but it doesn't actually have any bearing on gameplay other than plot, to my understanding. There are some changes here and there, but this, I think, is the more cinematic option. Your landing on New Ireland sees you escorted by a squadron of Thunderheads, the fighter of choice for the Wild Geese. As soon as you set down, an imposing figure covered in wild tattoos walks towards your hatch. You cycle the lock and head down to meet him. He steps aboard the Eyes of Hope with a remarkable grace for such a large man. Hello, Heather Odell. It is a shame we couldn't have met under happier circumstances, he says, introducing himself. My name is Eamon Flanagan. I am the commander of the Wild Geese and Micklin's uncle. My sister hasn't stopped crying since your message arrived. Micklin must be avenged. It was me who sent him into the nest of vipers in the first place. Flanagan's thick brogue is full of barely held emotions. You get the impression that the man is barely able to function in his grief. Would you take me to the body? He asks, respectfully. I must prepare it for burial. The practice may seem bizarre to you, but it has been the way of my people since the dawning of time, back on Sol, back before man took to the stars. You nod and take Flanagan through to the medical bay, and quietly take your leave as the man begins to grieve. As you sit and wait, you swear to avenge Micklin again. It is a matter of utmost importance. Micklin's funeral is a somber affair. In a strange place called a cemetery, Micklin's coffin is lowered into the ground. A man sits and plays a strange pipe instrument, and for the first time you hear music made by something that is not electronic. A mist rolls in, and it appears that the mourners are suspended in time, and that the moment has been frozen by some power beyond the control of man, so that it may accept the soul of the departed man with due reverence. It is something that you will never forget, and the memory will always make you cry. The next day, you meet with Flanagan in his office. For the commander of a mercenary unit, you are surprised that he has no personal bodyguards. But as you enter his office, you see him training with some other men in a side area. As you watch, you see 10 men rush him, only to be repulsed by him. He moves in a way that you have seen no other man ever move. He weaves around them as if he controlled their movements as well as his own, and that each step taken was part of some elaborate and painful dance. By the time you begin to piece together what your eyes are telling you, the man has moved on further. It is amazing to behold. Within moments he has defeated the men. You expect them to be smashed, broken, bloody, yet they stand, slowly for some, but they are not injured beyond possible bruises. Better, gentlemen, much better. Now go and practice amongst yourselves. I have business to attend to. He turns and walks toward you. I can see that you're impressed. Flanagan waves behind his head at the practice mat. The skills of a mercenary are varied. Some situations require force, others non-force. It is something I learned during my time with the Aurorans. The House Heron use a specific style of martial arts, which they call the Heron style. I am a master, but I have started teaching my men here a variation of it. It is an amazing system. You nod in agreement and ask what the principal basis is. In learning the Heron style, you are taught to read and direct the weave of combat, he replies quietly. Subconsciously, all of us fight to a pattern and rhythm. Heron style teaches us to detect and control it. It isn't so much that you defeat your opponent, but he defeats himself, if you force the weave to do so. It is hard to explain, but once felt and mastered, it makes all combat easier, from one-on-one to mammoth battles between hundreds of ships. There is one teacher, Karlekar, to whom the most promising students are sent. It is said that he imprints the ability to read and control the weave on the students subconsciously. This makes their weave unreadable, and therefore very dangerous. You nod, even though most of what Flanagan has said escapes your understanding. So, tell me what happened when you and Micheline arrived on Sol. Don't leave anything out. You tell Flanagan what happened. By the time you have finished, he has gone white with rage. Bastards, he says under his breath. I know that Mick wasn't entirely blameless, but I sent him to that situation. I needed information on McGowan's operation. I needed to see what sort of man he was. I guess now I know. I made a terrible error in judgment, but so is McGowan. His man Pennant will die, and so will his soul operations. Ugh, terrible. You ask Flanagan if there is anything you can do to help, as you want to avenge Micheline as well. He tells you to wait for him in the bar. He will let you know in a little while. Well. You are sitting quietly in a corner booth in the bar when a man... Oh. Okay. Alright. When a man walks in and walks straight up to you. Heather Odell? He asks you in a lilting voice. You nod, noticing that the man is very heavily armed, carrying a sawn-off shot blaster, 2 heavy blaster pistols, and a laser rapier. I'm Flynn Brereton. Eamon should be along soon, as should the others. Others? You wonder just what is going on, and when another two men saunter toward you, they are identical, with a shock of red hair, and both are very large. They nod a greeting to Flynn and sit down. Again, you notice the newcomers are heavily armed. I'm Sean O'Driscoll, one of them says. This here's me brother Ryan. The other grunts and waves for 2 ales. No sooner do the drinks arrive than a slim, athletic woman approaches. She sits and begins to polish a throwing dagger. You introduce yourself, and she smiles shyly at you. I'm Tara Collins. Pleased to meet you. Don't mind her, Heather Odell, says Flynn. I've been told that she talks more eventually, though I've known her for 3 years myself, and nary an errant word does she say to me. Tara shoots a wilting look at Flynn before returning to her blade. You were about to ask what is going on when Eamon Flanagan stalks into the bar, followed by 3 others. Ah, Heather Odell, I see you have already met the others, he begins almost brusquely. These with me make up the rest of the Wild Rovers. The Rovers are the closest thing the Wild Geese have to special forces. The 8 people you see here are the most resourceful individuals on all New Ireland. They are all used primarily as spies, but are also capable of demolitions work, assassination, anything really. Now, I've called them all here to outline the plan against Pennant and the Soul Sector branch of McGowan's operation. Eamon goes over the background of the situation and how Michelin was tasked to infiltrate the organization and assess its strengths and weaknesses, how he got into trouble when he owed the criminals a lot of money, and how the organization killed Michelin. The Rovers are quiet throughout the meeting, silently drinking their drinks and listening to Flanagan. You get the impression that at any other time they would be a lot of fun, but the current situation calls for a certain level of professionalism. Flanagan concludes his briefing with an outline of the plan to come. The Rovers would separate and enter the Sol system. Each 2-man team would be responsible for the destruction of a different sphere of McGowan's operation. By the time each team had finished their tasks, they would return to New Ireland. Of course, we're a man down, or rather, we were till you arrived, he says as he claps a hearty hand over your shoulder. You tell Flanagan that you would be honored to take part in this operation and that you owed Michelin that much. In that case, in that case, New Ireland, in that case. He continues smoothly. I want you to go to Myrem in the Hannaford system. Flynn will go with you, and he will be in command of a team of our Special Operations Commandos. When you get there, you will need to locate the wreck of a freighter called South of the Border. It crashed nearly 80 years ago on the icy steppes. McGowan has made the wreck habitable again and has been using it as a tobacco and hammerhead processing facility. It is a handy arrangement for McGowan. Myrem is close enough to Seoul that it doesn't take too long to ship the product back. However, since Myrem doesn't have any official government, McGowan has been able to have a steady influx of income without having any police trouble. I want you two to go and fix the situation. All of the workers there are convicted criminals that McGowan has been able to secure as part of governmental work contract. It is a good indication that the Federation cares little for the state of its criminal justice system. Terminate them. Teach them the folly of dealing in destructive drugs. After that, meet me back here for the next phase of the operation. One last thing, he mutters, looking straight at you. As the new member of our team, if at any time things get too out of hand for us to survive here, look for my friend Professor F. Cook on Misfire in the Trishka system, and I won't be far away. If at any time things get too out of hand for us to survive, look for Cook. Okay. The time is 10:02 p.m. Alright, so where are we on the mission? The next thing is go destroy the drug factory. Yes. So, available from here, go to Myrem and Hannaford. Hannaford. I'd really love a Thunderhead Lance to tack onto this ship. That'd be hilarious, but that's alright. Let's go blow up that drug factory. Because we hate drugs, don't we? Who doesn't? By the way, for anyone curious, Klaus Taylor, what I'm drinking right now, is non-alcoholic and always was. It looks like a beer, it tastes like a beer, but it isn't. Or rather, it doesn't get you drunk. So I'm not actually consuming alcohol on stream, if that makes any sense. So it's non-alcoholic, I promise. Now let's go blow up a drug factory. No thanks. Sorry. Not interested. Really not interested. Jesus Christ. Not catching me on the 9 o'clock news. Ha! After avoiding the orbital patrols, you and Flynn quickly move through the facility, smashing and killing everything you come across. Flynn is just a whirling dervish of destruction, and whenever you find yourself getting pinned down, he somehow manages to pull off the impossible and pull you out of trouble. After the better part of an hour fighting your way through the crashed ship, everything is quiet and Flynn plants his charges, and the two of you take off as soon as possible to avoid any further entanglements with pirate goons. Pirate goons. Goons! Goons, I say! Well, you know what? Shit. I say, screw you! We're going! We're out of here, boys. We don't want no trouble with no pirata. We only want piñata. Back to Tuatha. Alright, guys, have fun. Let's just... There we go. You land on New Ireland with the memory of your assault on the south of the border still fresh in your mind. You and the Wild Geese team moved through the derelict like the wraiths of death itself. The workers tried to repulse you with the small arms fire from numerous blasters, and the sentinel gun emplacement slowed you down for a while, but nothing could stop Flynn. His heavy repeating blasters spat an unending stream of destruction, and soon enough it was time for the up-close fighting. In battle, Flynn became a wild killing machine, hacking and slashing everything, hacking and slashing without fear. Men fell before him like wheat before the scythe, and many turned and tried to flee. Flynn pulled his pistol, and he and his team wreaked a bloody vengeance upon their massed ranks, and it was over in less than an hour. You looked out of a porthole and watched the survivors flee across the icy steppes, safe in the knowledge that the extreme cold weather would soon end their lives. You remember standing guard while Flynn quickly set a number of microfusion charges before both of you returned to the eyes of hope. As you passed over the site, Flynn depressed the detonator, and the entire wreck disappeared in a ball of white light, rapidly expanding to a sphere of flaming debris. The Hulk was simply vaporized. You and Flynn report the details of your assault to Flanagan, who grins happily at the result. That should upset our friend McGowan somewhat. He says a little cheekily. He just lost a sizable portion of his drug production capability. It took him almost a year to set up the site, and it took the two of you and a strike team an hour or so to utterly destroy it. Wait for me in the bar. I'll have something else for you to do in a few hours. Sexy. It's the part where we deliver explosives, and then some more stuff happens, right? Where's the pirate link? There's a pirate link somewhere. Where is it? Okay. Accept refusal. Our rebels and Aurorans, respectively, successful completion of this mission leads to the pirate storyline. Okay. So the rebels leads to the pirates, which is interesting. You wouldn't think that. All right. You are sitting waiting for Flanagan, and Flynn has been telling you all about his recent adventures. You do a lot of flying, but Flynn has been from one end of the universe to the other so many times that he would have easily eclipsed your journeys. All of his missions involve some sort of espionage, from destroying installations to planting bugs and wires in crucial places. You're beginning to get a grasp of how large the Wild Geese's intelligence network is. And you ask Flynn how the geese maintain such a high level of security and awareness in what is a constantly changing galaxy. That's simple, he says, sipping his pint. We geese come from a long line of usurpers. Our ancestors fought in so many wars after being forced into exile for their political ideologies that we have almost evolved into the unit we are now. Where some people tell their wains about the Three Little Bugbears or the Princess Bride, we get told stories about Michael Collins and the Flying Columns, or the battles of Rory of the Glen. Guerrilla tactics are like mother's milk to us. Intelligence and counterintelligence are easy if you have been trained in them since you were able to listen. You are still musing over his information when Flanagan arrives. He quickly walks up to you and pulls you to a booth. Now we are going to play a little game. McGowan has placed orders with a number of smaller operators for drugs. In a few hours, we'll have a shipment for you to deliver. Only thing is, your containers aren't going to be filled with hammerhead or fly or goof juice. They're going to be packed with explosives. Explosives. God, I'm tired. Flanagan, Eamon Flanagan. They're going to be packed with explosives. They're going to be packed with explosives. Since the orders are being filed for so many groups, it has been easy for our spies to discover what the passwords and delivery schedules are. Do you want to make some evil go boom? Good for you. Here's the deal. We'll load the containers onto your ship. You have to take them to Rill in the Porto Aurelia system. McGowan has a distribution center there. When you arrive, tell the dock workers that the containers are for Marguerite Harris. They will ask you when you want them delivered, and you must respond with before 6 tomorrow and make it snappy. If you don't, they will assume you are a plant and more than likely or not try to kill you. More likely than not try to kill you. Even if you escape, you'll still have a hold full of explosives to get rid of, so make sure you have it right. Get the shipment there ASAP, ASAP, as I'll need, Eamon Flanagan, as I'll need to make McGowan sweat in order to take my plans to the next phase. Also, he adds with a quiet grin, you might want to avoid Federation patrols, and as I don't think they appreciate people who ship large amounts of explosives from place to place. Any questions? You tell Flanagan that you have it, and head for your ship. Hell yeah. Ah, the little boom booms. Teehee. Alright, where the hell are we going? Because we're definitely going to want to run for it. Porto Aurelia, yeah? I think that's right. So that's right? Yes. Rill in the Porto Aurelia. Before 6 and make it snappy. Let's go. Gotta love this ship. And the vectored thrust. Man, I can really tell, too. It looks great. It's so fast. Alright, I don't know which number Rill is. There it is, number 1. You land on Rill to find the docks a swarm of activity. You wonder how the corrupt dock workers know which ships to approach, but you guess that Flanagan and the Geese have made sure that the shipping scripts have been organized to match. A number of burly dock workers approach you. And with a poker face you tell them the containers are to be delivered to Marguerite Harris. When asked by what time the goods must be delivered, you tell the foreman, before 6 tomorrow and make it snappy. The foreman grins and hands you a chip for 30,000 credits. There you go, he says, smiling. A little bonus from the boss for a prompt delivery. You smile, more at the irony of the situation, but the dim-witted foreman does not notice the difference. You head back to your ship and get some rest and watch the news. A couple of hours later, the broadcast you are watching is interrupted by a special report. You watch in grim satisfaction as a news reporter makes a telecast from the front of a burning warehouse. Great gouts of black, oily smoke billow from the building, and the reporter has to shout to be heard over the roar of the flames. Switching off the holo receiver, you head for the stars and ultimately New Ireland. Our real home, as far as I'm concerned. God, this is fun. I forgot how fun I forgot how fun the Wild Geese storyline is. Like, it's really fun and sweet and great writing. And I find it extremely pleasing. And this way. I saw your handiwork on the news. Flanagan smiles as he meets you in the hatch. I especially liked the bit when the authorities tried to take credit for the destruction of a large shipment of drugs and breaking the smuggling ring. Funny thing about crooked cops is something too big happens. They take down everybody, get promotions and medals, and sleep well at night knowing that they have heaps of cash and have still done their jobs. Flanagan shakes his head and you wonder just how the police and security forces were tipped off. Go and get some rest in a real bed. He finishes with a warm smile. And take some time to wind down. The next stage of the operation is going to be tricky, so I'll need some time to set it up. Sweet, man. God. Oh, I want to keep playing. I do. I want to keep playing, but it is late, and I need sleep, so I am going to say goodnight.